Hey everyone, this is One Up on Wall Street, our time here at the Motley Fool to look at all the wonderfully geeky things around us that you can invest in and hopefully make lots of money on. Joining me as always is Nathan Alderman. Hey Nate, how you doing?
Howdy.
And out in Colorado, we have Tim Byers. Tim, how's it going out there?
Good, good. Hey
Hey,
guys.
hey, so is everyone considerably more stoned where you are lately, Tim?
Probably. I don't get out enough to know. Let me go check at 4:20. I'll check at 4:20 this afternoon. How about
Yeah,
that?
just go around and nudge people and be like, hey, it's 420. And
Colorado
then
reports a notable uptick in brownie sales,
right, exactly,
and Cheeto
exactly.
shortages run rampant throughout the state.
Exactly.
And this one guy keeps bugging everyone if they're high. That would be you, Tim. All right, well, let's get into it. First story we want to cover today is Twitter, because Twitter won the World Cup. Forget about Germany, forget about, what is it, Argentina?
Yeah.
It's Twitter that won the World Cup because it exploded during the Brazil game. But despite that, the stock took a hit last week after they announced that their VP of International Market Development will take over as their VP of Global Media. So this seems like something really stupid for investors to have gotten upset about because this woman used to be with Twitter and now she's just in a different role. So it doesn't make sense to me why the stock would fall 7%. Nathan, what should investors be focused on instead? Because this is not it.
When it comes to tech companies that are fast growing, the danger sign is not necessarily shuffling within the executive suite. It's shuffling strategies. It's constantly saying, no, now we're doing this. Wait, no, now we're doing this. Wait, no, now we're going to do this, and it's going to be awesome. You'll see. Wait, no, now we're doing this. Like Yahoo did for years before Marissa Mayer showed up to finally give them one consistent direction. Twitter thus far, despite whatever shuffles are going on in its executive boardroom, seems consistently interested in improving its ad revenue and finding ways to monetize its Twitter users. For example, with a way to buy stuff on Amazon straight from a tweet, or just a buy this button that you could add to any tweet. So just look for consistent strategy. As long as the changes to the executives don't lead Twitter to constantly change its direction, I think the company's in reasonably good hands. That said, if you're looking for a fast-growing tech stock, you can probably do a lot better than one that gets kicked around like a soccer ball every time there's the slightest rumor or change in the boardroom ranks.
Right, and this didn't even seem to be a surprise that they went with this woman. But I don't know, Tim, what do you think about Twitter? Do you think it's a buy, sell, hold? What do you think about the stock?
I like Twitter, and I think that Twitter captures, I mean, we just talked about the World Cup. I mean, it blew up because Brazil blew up and completely fell apart during the World Cup. But that's Twitter. It captures the zeitgeist, and it's finding better ways to monetize this, real-time capturing of things that are going on in the world that you care about. And in fact, it's become really big in the world of TV, particularly genre programming. You have, you know, TV shows that are on the ball. I mean, we've talked about Arrow many times on this program, but that's one where the stars get on during the show and they have live tweet chats. So it's become very important for supporting shows that don't otherwise have the heavy the marketing muscle of a big broadcaster. So Twitter is, because it's found a way to ingrain itself in all of these things, from the World Cup all the way on down to a little show like Arrow, it creates an opportunity for them to monetize that zeitgeist in lots of different ways. Certainly advertising's part of it. Twitter TV has
Well, yeah, you
that's
would
a
think.
big.
Yeah,
What's that?
you'd think with like I always feel like network television should send Twitter like the world's biggest muffin basket
Yeah.
because without Twitter there'd be so much fewer people watching it. Like it makes the whole watch it live idea, but
Yeah.
because of Twitter, people want to watch it when it's happening so they can interact and the
Right.
whole watch it live experience. So that's why Twitter needs the world's biggest muffin basket from network television.
Yeah, but
No
that would
doubt.
require network television to actually spend money on something.
Well, I don't know about that.
But I mean, it is absolutely true, and now that Hollywood has moved towards, they're starting to finally convince advertisers that they can spend real money on the C+7 ratings, which is the live plus 7 days, where you include DVR and those shows that we don't necessarily watch live. Those ad rates are finally going up. So yeah, now that Twitter has made more of us tune in live. That's a huge boon for the networks. But overall, NATO's totally right here. This isn't a huge move. The one wrinkle is that in this media space, Twitter is moving its media executive is the one that actually is the liaison to the networks, to TV, to Hollywood. So this is a big part of Twitter's business. So they do want to treat this right. They do want to get the right person into that role. It's a total overreaction, but I think it just reflects how seriously they take that part of the business.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on. And I'm glad you guys are sitting because this may blow your mind. Blackberry. Yes? Blackberry is up 50% this year. In comparison, Apple's up about 20, Google's up about 5. So that makes BlackBerry one of the best performing stocks of 2014.
No, that's not
BlackBerry.
That's not real. Come
Am
on.
we in the Bizarro universe?
Yeah, right. So anyway, I'm blown away. Tim, what do you think about this?
Well, I think BlackBerry the business hasn't changed.
Sorry, I just see you're like, well, it's BlackBerry.
Yeah, the business hasn't really changed. Well, it hasn't changed that much. I think the reason it's popped is because it had nowhere to go. People thought this stock was left for dead. And CEO John Chen is a smart guy, and he's realized that he's shifted strategy a bit. It is no longer a bare knuckles fight with Apple and Google. Those two, they do rule the smartphone kingdom now. Android is king of the mountain in terms of overall units shipped. Apple still generates the lion's share of profits from smartphone sales. And those two together sort of rule that domain, and BlackBerry is left over chasing scraps. So what does Chen do? He starts looking at ways to, cash in on BlackBerry's historical legacy in serving businesses, providing great security. And he's doing that. I mean, so for example, BlackBerry has made a big bet on serving the healthcare market where security is important, where you can have a custom device. And in hospitals, we're seeing more use of digital technology. Electronic health records are real. So accessing those on a mobile device that is very secure is important, and that's a market that BlackBerry can serve quite well. It's not the same as being the king of the mountain in smartphones, but it's a profitable little niche. They're also going after, playing buzzword bingo here. They're going after the Internet of Things. BlackBerry wants to serve you there as well, just like everybody else. But, this is a company that's going to make its nut off of, niche markets. They will, be profitable. They'll probably grow over time and maybe just be the company you forget about in 5 years, but just grows little profits here and there and persists for the next 20 years. If you're an investor and you're okay with that, then sure, stick with BlackBerry. But I don't think we're going to see much of this sort of growth next year or even in many years to come.
Yeah, Nate, I mean, I don't know. Is this kind of like Tim said, the company was left for dead. So is this one of the, is it fair for me to bring out the old trope about it being a dead cat bounce? Or, I mean, what do you think, Nathan?
I've never liked that trope, aside from the fact that it's just super gross. But yeah, I think
don't
this
like
is
cats.
just people. I mean, if someone told you that the person you loved most in the world was dead, completely flatlined, their heartbeat was gone, you'd be miserable. And so if they then told you, wait, no, they have no brain activity, but their heart is beating, you'd be elated because that's so much better than dead. So BlackBerry, it's on life support. Oh, thank God, because the alternative was I thought it was dead. And that's kind of what we got going with BlackBerry here. I'm heartened by Tim's discussion of their move into niche markets. And I have to say, I really like their brand new phone, the Passport. It looks completely different from any other smartphone on the market. Like the original BlackBerries, it's this squat, squarish, no-nonsense form factor that doesn't look like an iPhone, doesn't look like a Samsung Galaxy.
I'm gonna Google it right now because I don't even know what it looks like.
Well,
so you keep talking, and I'm gonna look up a picture of it.
BlackBerry went astray by moving away from the little small hardware keyboard pager / mobile email devices that it had made its bones on, and trying to compete with the iPhone and with Android. And by giving up what had made it unique and kind of blending in with the crowd, it really almost died. So I like that they're going back to what they were good at originally and focusing on that, creating something that is designed for a specific purpose, for business. Yeah, look at that. Look at that beauty. That thing is it's like the equivalent of like horn-rimmed glasses and a crew cut, but man, it means business. There is no doubt that this thing is distinctive from other gadgets and is designed for business. This is not something you're going to be playing games on. And so I like that. And I like what it represents about BlackBerry, that they seem to be thinking clearly and trying to be their own company. That said, Apple's made huge inroads in enterprise. They're going to have to work really hard to get back in there. They've really lost the battle to have a strong developer base of folks crafting really great apps for their phones, although they are apparently trying to emulate Android apps. So again, I think really their future will depend on those small niche markets that Tim was talking about. I don't think they're entirely out of the woods yet. They're just not completely dead. And if not completely dead is good enough an investing thesis for you, then by all means, go right ahead.
Not dead yet. All right. Well, let's move on. We got a lot of phone chat today. So the next one is Samsung, because a gang of well-organized armed thieves stole 6 million in Samsung products out in Brazil, which is maybe the only way that Samsung can actually move some of their phones, considering how lousy sales have been. Samsung on Tuesday said that its operating earnings in the last quarter likely fell by as much as 26.5% from a year earlier because of their glut of unsold smartphones. Nate, it couldn't have happened to a nicer company, could it?
No, I mean, first of all, I'm pretty sure that Interpol is looking at Dominic Toretto and his notorious gang of automotive thieves for this crime, because this seems like something straight out of Fast and the Furious 5. But no, I mean, $6 million is a drop in the bucket compared to what the chairman of Samsung is alleged to have stolen from the company. In 2008, Samsung chairman Lee Kun-hee, he's the son of the company's founder, he was convicted of evading $93 million in taxes on $3.8 billion in income that he hid by swirling it into stock accounts under his employees' names. In 2009, Korea's president gave him a full pardon on the 3-year suspended sentence that he got for, again, dodging $93 million in taxes. That's just the tip of the iceberg. He's also been accused, but mind you, never convicted, of allegedly running multiple slush funds, some as big as $10 billion to, again, allegedly, buy off South Korean presidential candidates, buy off other politicians and the media, and buy up subsidiaries of Samsung on the sly so that he could more easily hand control of the company to his son. So, if you're going to steal from a company, there are worse companies to steal from than Samsung. It's not like there's not a lot of stealing already going on by the people who allegedly going on by the people who run Samsung. That said, as far as smartphone sales, who knows? Maybe this was one of those, well, we can't do anything with this property, so let's burn it down things, allegedly. Because I think the problem with Samsung's phone sales is that they're going after the low and middle end. Apple's sitting up at the high end of the smartphone market, very happily skimming the cream off the top. But by trying to pursue the lower and the middle ends of the smartphone market, Samsung left itself vulnerable to commoditization. When you've got the low-end market and the middle-end market, price is a much bigger factor, and there's always going to be somebody, in this case a Chinese upstart named Xiaomi, I believe, that is going to come along and offer phones that are just as good at a lower price.
All right, so Tim, Nate has many reasons to not invest in Samsung. Mostly it comes down to who's sitting in the corner office. How about you? What do you think about Samsung?
I'm not as, I may not be as bearish, but I'm not all that bullish on Samsung either. Here's the problem with the Galaxy S5, and I have to admit, I wrote an article and I thought, given the numbers that they had published, I thought the Galaxy S5 was an unqualified hit. There were 11 million, in units shipped in the first month alone. That was apparently a new record. But now I wonder if those numbers were fudged, based on what we're seeing from, in terms of overall profits. Part of the problem may be that Samsung, as soon as they shipped out the S5, and they started talking about, or at least there were rumors of, a premium version of the S5. So, buyers may have been sitting on the sideline for that. Then the Galaxy F, And so multiple phones, multiple variants, that's very common for Samsung. And so buyers might have just said, like, you know what, I don't know what you want me to buy, so I'm not going to buy anything. Now, as it turns out, some of these premium phones, or at least one of the premium phones, is now only available in South Korea. That's common for Samsung as well. The Samsung Galaxy Curve, the one that has the curved screen, which looks really cool, is a very high-end phone. Also, only available in South Korea. So Samsung is very strange in that way. NATO's right that they tend to go after price-sensitive markets. In fact, when they ship a phone, they tend to ship it in no less than 150 countries around the globe. So Samsung is very sensitive about how they price phones for these mass markets, except in their home country. So the stuff that would arguably be, the devices, say, might be able to compete with or even stand up very nicely against the forthcoming iPhone 6, if you're a U.S. citizen, you can't get it. So once again, proving that irony never, ever disappoints.
All right, guys. Well, now it's time to head into the lightning round where we're going to do a round of Fool in the Blank. How this works is I'm going to give you a sentence, and you have to fool in the blank or fill in the blank. We're just being cutesy here. So, all right. So, are you guys ready?
Ready.
Yep.
All right.
Let's do this thing.
The what? What was that, Nate?
Let's do this thing.
Let's do this. All right. Apple's latest patent for a seamless all-glass electronic device casing. Apple Insider discovered a patent that Apple had filed where it would be all glass, not just the sort of sandwich glass, but it can entirely encase something. This patent for a seamless all-glass electronic device casing should be used to make an awesome blank. Who wants to go first? Tim, how about you?
All right, I'm going to say
flat screen TV.
All right. TV. I think that would be pretty amazing. It wouldn't be as goofy as I'd like. I'd like to see Apple do something goofy like a toaster or something, board game or something crazy like that. But no, a flat screen TV would be really awesome. You put it up on your wall. It just blends right into the wall, so it looks like you have TV, coming straight out of your wall, which would be very Jetsons and very Apple.
All right, Nate, how about you?
I'm going to go crazy here, and I'm going to say
a dinner plate.
Yeah, I think a glass-encased smart dinner plate would be awesome. It could calculate the amount of food that you place on the plate. You could use it to make a game for kids of cleaning your plate. You could use it to video conference. If you're sitting alone in your sad bachelor apartment, you could be eating dinner with friends, looking at them on the plate. You could even have family games where as you're eating at the dinner table, you could be using your forks to blast pucks back and forth in a game of Breakout. I think a dinner plate would be a great way to kind of go outside the box, but again, they'd have to make them cheap and dishwasher safe.
Right.
So eating guilt brought to you by Apple.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I was with you for the health aspect of it. Then you maybe lost me a little bit there, but I was on board for a good 5 seconds.
Hey, I was dreaming big.
I love it. I love it. You got to dream big. That's what we need. That's what Apple needs to do. It needs to dream a little bigger. All right. Next one. Transformers 4 continues to dominate. In just 2 weeks of its release in China, it's displaced Avatar as China's top grossing film of all time. But despite that, the biggest winner in all of this is Nate. Why don't you go first this time?
It's Michael Bay. He gets more clout in Hollywood and more money and more prestige to make even more terrible movies. This is one of the worst reviewed movies of the year on the geek websites I go to. Even sites that previously had a few nice things to say about Michael Bay's Transformers movies are like, this is god-awful and horrifying. But I was surprised doing some research to find out that Michael Bay's about the only person really benefiting on the bottom line from these movies. Hasbro, which you'd think would be raking in the cash, considering these things keep making more and more money at the global box office, it's just doing okay. They're trying to diversify away from toy sales into licensing their characters like Marvel and Disney do, but it's only going all right for them. Transformer sales actually shrank 18.4% in dollar terms from 2009, the year of the second movie, to 2011, the year of the third. over time, since the very first Transformers movie in 2007, licensing has become a bigger part of Hasbro's top and bottom lines. In 2007, it was 2.27% of revenue and 7.52% of profit. In 2013, it was 4.67% and 9.73% respectively. So, it's becoming slowly a bigger part. But that growth is slowing down even as the box office for the movies gets bigger and bigger. Revenue growth just is sort of dropping off. It's getting more modest as the years go by. And profit growth is not only getting slower, but it's all over the map. Some years it's negative, some years it's positive. Licensing revenue has grown 11.84% each year for 7 years. So, on the top line, that licensing money is growing fast, but they're not reaping as many profits from that money. Profit has grown only about 2.25% per year in the same period. So Hasbro, great for Michael Bay. His pact with Satan seems to be alive and well, but it's really not doing Hasbro much good. And especially when you consider that licensing revenue isn't just Michael Bay Transformers money, but the money they're getting from My Little Pony, from the Hub Network, from all their, everything that they're licensing, all their different brands across the spectrum.
Yeah, wow. All right, Tim, how about you? Who is
I'm
the
going to
big
say,
winner
I'm
for
going to go a
Transformers
little
4?
goofy here and say
Pacific Rim.
Pacific
Yeah.
Rim. Pacific Rim, and the reason I say this, because first of all, I think NATO's right. The biggest catalyst for Hasbro, I think, is Marvel, and to come, Star Wars. They have that license, and they paid up huge for it. So when you have, Star Wars Rebels and Episode 7, those toy sales are likely to go through the roof, and that's really good news for Hasbro. It's ironic that their own properties aren't giving them as much of a boost as the properties that they're licensing. In the case of this, though, with Transformers 4, I think the very idea of getting the public used to more giant robots punching things in the face, this movement, seriously, to have this giant monsters, giant robots, the whole shebang here. I think this is great for a guy who actually makes good movies in that genre, which is Guillermo del Toro and Pacific Rim. And there is going to be, it is official, we are going to get Pacific Rim 2, and it's going to be a multimedia experience. It's going to be a movie, it's going to be a comic, there's going to be an animated series, I believe. So yeah, I think that Transformers has sort of set the stage for this genre to go a little further, but in a way that making really good films, not silly or gross or just dark, needlessly dark films like these Transformer films seem to have become. Instead, I'm thinking that this big box office for Transformers 4 gets us one step closer to giant robots versus Godzilla, and then we all win.
Yeah, well, with Pacific Rim 2 moving from Warner Brothers to Universal Pictures, this marks about the first time I've ever been excited to give money to Comcast.
Oh, that's so true. All right, last one. I want to cover our big bet that you guys had. Nathan, why don't you explain how the bet and how it turned out?
So Tim and I had a bet going about which would have the greater global box office for the year, Captain America 2, The Winter Soldier, or X-Men Days of Future Past. And I regret to say that Tim has won. Although Captain America 2 is still, at least until Transformers 4 knocks it off, the top grossing U.S. film at the box office. Days of Future Past just, vaulted past it on the international box office. So we had some terms of the bet originally, but at Tim's request, the terms of the bet have changed, and I will be sending him a handsome Neil Adams Green Lantern Green Arrow t-shirt, which I hope he'll wear on a future edition of the program. Congratulations, Tim. I need to learn not to bet against you when money is involved.
Well, I'm absolutely going to wear it, and just for solidarity's sake, today I'm wearing, I went with Cap. So, because it was a great movie. I mean, you can't lose, right? That was, both of them were really good. I saw Days of Future Past. It was really good. And as we've said before on this program, Marvel, more than anybody else, Marvel wins and gets all of the money that Transformers hasn't sucked into a giant robotic space hole.
All right, so then it's time to usher in the next bet. And I hope you guys are ready because this one's a big one and it's going to take a while for this bet to play out. So you're going to have to stay with us here. Little baby Bowman was born this last week. We are happy to announce, and I've got a picture here of little Lorelei Frances Bowman. There she is. Look at her. So Ellen is on maternity leave with this little nugget along with her husband Tony. And so my question for you guys is, what will little baby Bowman be when she grows up? Let's have. Sorry, I guess I should say who goes first.
We were just taking a moment to bask in the cuteness.
Yes.
Look at the baby. All right. So we'll go with Tim. What do you think little baby Lorelai is going to be when she grows up?
I'm gonna go with. Can you guys see that?
Oh,
There we go.
there we go. Oh, sorry. Now I'm talking, and so now it can't see it. The first female Doctor Who. Dun, dun, dun.
I think Lorelai is going to be given the geek cred of her outstanding parents. She'll be the first one to take over the TARDIS, and we'll all be better for it. I mean,
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Nathan, can you top that?
I think she's going to rebel in the fashion of all children against her parents and be the star of the inevitable Taylor Swift biopic, which, hey, they'll still have an Oscar winner for a daughter, so it'll all work out well.
Right. If that's the worst that she rebels, I think they'll be okay. Maybe. I don't know. That would be a tough one to take. All right, guys. You know what? That is going to do it for today, unless you have anything else you want to add. No? We're good?
no.
All right. So a reminder to follow us on Twitter. We are at TMF and the number 1 up. If you want to learn more about how you can start investing in all of the wonderfully geeky things we talked about here today, you can get our free report by sending an email to startinvesting@fool.com, and we'll send you a link and you download the report and you're off to the races. So until next time, see you later. See you. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Bye, guys. Talk to you later.